The Raiders have officially trimmed their roster down to 53 men, shifted players to the practice squad, and are entering that strange stretch before week 1 that often feels like a holding pattern. On the surface, it might seem quiet, but the reality is very different. This is the stage when teams keep tinkering, making trades, placing waiver claims, and releasing players as they finalize their true identity. For the Raiders, that identity is already being stamped into place, and the message from the top down is impossible to miss. Show up with toughness, bring a chip on your shoulder, and prove every day that you belong. The announcement of team captains made that message even clearer. The players voted, and it wasn't close. Max Crosby is the defensive captain, Geno Smith is running the offense, and AJ Cole is leading special teams. These aren't just symbolic titles or patches sewn on a jersey. Captains serve as the official voices of the locker room, the players who walk to midfield for coin tosses, handle penalty decisions on the field, and most importantly, embody the culture. They are the bridge between coaches and teammates, setting the tone and representing the team in every situation from pre-game to post-game. For the Raiders, this trio forms a rock-solid triangle of leadership, and Pete Carroll himself admitted that the nearly unanimous vote shows how aligned the locker room already is. Carroll's demeanor in his press conference carried that same conviction. He looked casual, almost laid back, but spoke with an energy that told the story of a coach who is having fun building something from the ground up. He praised the ownership's support and talked about how this roster perfectly reflects his vision of football: physical, competitive, and relentless. Then he threw in a comment Raider Nation should have caught. He said it would be satisfying to go up against AFC West coaches. Translation: he's here to beat them, not to shake hands politely at midfield. Carroll is aiming directly at Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and anyone else who thinks they run this division. Roster moves this week revealed more about the culture shift. The Raiders claimed safety Tristan McCollum off waivers from the Eagles. At first glance, it doesn't look like headline news, but it matters. McCollum stands at 6'3" and 195 pounds, and more importantly, he has been tested under playoff pressure. He played 14 games for Philadelphia last season, starting 2, and even saw action during their Super Bowl run. That kind of experience is invaluable for a young secondary. To make room, the Raiders waived Thomas Harper, signaling they see McCollum as an immediate upgrade in depth and reliability. Meanwhile, Thayer Munford was let go, and while it may sting for some fans, it makes sense. His preseason was rough, filled with missed assignments and weak anchoring. For a 7th round pick from a past regime, that's a recipe for being cut. The Raiders wasted no time replacing him with Stone Forsythe, a towering 6'8" lineman who can swing between both tackle spots. He's not a Pro Bowler yet, but as depth, he's a clear upgrade over Munford. On defense, eyes are on Brennan Jackson, a relentless edge setter who embodies Carroll's mantra of showing up on every snap. This is the kind of player who might not grab headlines, but becomes a backbone in the locker room. The Raiders also brought in Amari Cooper, and that addition cannot be understated. Cooper isn't just a recognizable name, he's a master technician at wide receiver. His precise routes, steady hands, and experience in big games give the Raiders younger receivers an on-field example of how to operate at the highest level. Cooper not only relieves pressure by being the go-to guy in clutch situations, but he also teaches by example, showing the younger guys how to win battles at the line of scrimmage and create separation. The secondary remains a question mark, but Carroll flipped the narrative. Instead of calling it a weakness, he described it as a blessing. Yes, it's the youngest group on the roster, but that also means speed, athleticism, and moldability. The challenge, of course, is that rookies will have to learn under fire. Carroll admitted rotations will be heavy early on because the staff hasn't solidified the unit yet. But that isn't panic, that's strategy. Sundays reveal who you can trust, not August practices. Jeremy Chin has emerged as a stabilizer. Isaiah has stepped up as a communicator, and Eric Stokes is quickly making the other cornerback spot his own. Competition for starting roles is ongoing, and Carroll embraces that pressure. Health-wise, the team is in solid shape. Only a few players are banged up, and Carroll emphasized that this bonus week was about staying healthy and sharpening the game. Plan: September football across the league tends to be sloppy, so having a stable roster with minimal injuries gives the Raiders an early edge. Then there's Kenny Pickett, the latest addition to the roster and one of the most intriguing storylines. Being traded multiple times early in your career can bruise a quarterback's confidence, but Pickett has embraced it with quiet determination. He arrived, passed his physical, immediately dove into meetings, and was on the practice field that same day. No excuses, no delays. He understands this is Geno Smith's team and isn't trying to undercut him. Instead, he's committed to learning, preparing, and being ready when his number is called. Pickett's transition is smoothed by the offensive system. Chip Kelly's scheme shares similarities with what he ran at Pitt under Mark Whipple. These concepts feel familiar. What's different is the terminology. That's a huge advantage, and Pickett even said he's calling Whipple to talk through the system. Add to that the chemistry factor. Pickett and Geno trained together all offseason, throwing routes, sharing the weight room, and pushing each other. Now, as teammates, that pre-existing trust is already in place. It's exactly the kind of QB1, QB2 relationship a locker room thrives on. Mutual respect, no drama, just work. Pickett is also making the right moves off the field. During the off week, instead of disappearing, he stayed back to throw with Amari Cooper, putting in extra reps to sync timing. That level of commitment shows he's serious about catching up and contributing. He even spoke about how impressed he was watching Brock Bowers in one-on-ones, praising his ability to separate and read coverage at such a young age. That's the kind of attention to detail you want from a backup quarterback fighting to improve. Stepping back, what you see is a roster that feels intentional, not patched together. The Raiders are shaping into a tough, physical, and unapologetically competitive team under Pete Carroll. The youth in the secondary may cause some early stumbles. Expect blown coverages or miscommunication in September, but those mistakes will turn into growth if the pass rush brings pressure and the offense executes cleanly. That's how you win ugly in the early weeks and sharpen into a contender by mid-season. Pete Carroll isn't just coaching a football team, he's reshaping its identity. The Raiders no longer look like a franchise struggling to find relevance. They look like a squad built with purpose, hungry, motivated, and unified under strong leadership. With Geno Smith at the helm, Max Crosby anchoring the defense, AJ Cole running special teams, and Kenny Pickett waiting in the wings, this roster carries a new edge. It's not about surviving anymore. It's about proving they belong in the AFC West conversation, and they plan to do it with toughness, grit, and no apologies.